I'm Zach Gardner, the chief architect at Keyhole Software. And over the past 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 months, I've been diving into my journey on generative AI, but I'm not doing it in private. I'm doing it out in public. I'm talking with people from all different walks of life, from all different backgrounds, some similar, some divergent from my own, to figure out where are my blind spots, where are the things that I'm not thinking about, and where are potentially we going in this crazy journey that we've all gotten ourselves into. Today with me is my boy Amir from Scandinavia, currently, as you can tell by the Aurora Borealis behind him. He's the CEO of Think Big Leaders. Amir, how's it going?
It's fine and lovely to be here and to join you on this mini journey.
Awesome. Well, for those in the audience that are curious, all the views and opinions expressed in this program, the views and opinions of the participants, do not reflect their employers, any trade organizations that they're affiliated with, any grocery stores that they might have loyalty cards with. You know, we're just two people. We're just getting to know each other, just talking. So could you give the audience a little bit of your background just to kind of get to know you better, know your perspective? You know, where are some of the places that you've worked at over your career? And then that'll hopefully segue into, you know, the idea behind Think Big Leaders, and maybe even talk a little bit about the working backwards methodology.
Yes, happy to do so. So I would say I have had the pleasure of working in a diverse types of organizations. I've had both like large international organizations such as Motorola and Teva Pharmaceuticals, and recently Amazon Web Services as well, which I'll talk about in a minute. But I've also had the pleasure of working like in smaller consulting companies or in innovation consulting, in NGOs, and I was director of products in a couple of startups. One of them was in around virtual and augmented reality. Another was in SaaS and learning technologies. So I've had the chance to kind of taste both kind of the supplier side, the large corporate side, business development, product roles. So quite an interesting journey, I would say.
Awesome. So, you know, Amazon definitely on most people's bucket list to be able to work at least once in their lifetime. I'm curious if you could talk a little bit about some of the things that you shared with me on here, just insights that, you know, people may not realize about the company that I might have used to order my Father's Day present to make sure it got there on time.
Yes. So I started out at Amazon as leading the training team in Israel, which is my home country. But ever since I came into Amazon, I was curious about the innovation methodology, which Amazon itself uses, right? So any product, any service that you see coming out of Amazon and all the business units go through this internal process of innovation. And I was curious about it. I tried to learn about it because of my background in innovation. And I also discovered this team that was helping customers understand this innovation methodology and help them innovate for their customers with Amazon's own methodology, and then building prototypes and services and products on the cloud technology, of course. And that meant that I had the chance to move to Stockholm, where I am currently still. And I led the innovation program for AWS, the cloud business of Amazon, in the Nordics. So working backwards, basically, it is about thinking about the customer, not starting with your technology, with your product, with your interests, but really clearing your mind and thinking about your customers. What are their needs? What are their problems? And working backwards from that, it's meant to be a mechanism that enables innovation at scale and at the edge. So and to ensure that innovation leads to customer-focused products and services. So that is what I kind of shared with customers. I took them through this methodology. It involves asking certain questions about the customer. It involves then writing a fictional press release and frequently asked questions document that kind of envisions that kind of delight that you deliver to customers, that, you know, same day, next day delivery, if it's the retail business, or all the AWS amazing features, and, you know, the Prime Video. So all kinds of the features have to imagine how will customers feel if we deliver this, and that keeps people on track, and both the development, but also the messaging and everything. So That is Amazon's own internal process or mechanism, as they call it. And then I used it to build amazing stuff with some Nordic customers, such as the large ones like as Volvo Group and Kone, which does elevators, and many others.
Mhm. Very cool. I think I learned about that maybe when I was in my second year out of college, but we didn't refer to it as working backwards. We referred to it as phishing.
Hmm.
Not the, information security phishing, PHISHING, but literally like if you imagine you have like a rod, you have to like cast out. This is very topical because I was actually camping last week, teaching my girls how to fish. And so you have to figure out like where your target is. You have to figure out like what these fish are gonna want. You have to like get into the mind of these amphibians. No, they're not amphibians. They're sea creatures. But you then have to like figure out how to work backwards from that target to get them back to you. Because if you have like rocks in your way, if you have other impediments, you have to you have to become the fish in some way.
Yeah.
It's real interesting to see how different people have different. A lot of our ideas rhyme with each other.
Yeah.
So
And what would, it sounds very, straightforward or common sense, but then I would constantly be surprised when I would talk to customers, and they're very, very strong customers with great market success, with great products. But I would come to the teams and I would pose kind of these challenging questions about the basic question: who is your customer? And you could have like five, six, eight people in the room giving different answers, and then I could say, how do you know what to build for them if you can't even agree on that first basic question? Or who is your fish in your terms,
hmm
maybe?
yeah, or any fans of the movie Field of Dreams, or if you build it, they will come. It's like if you don't really know who you're building it for, how are you even sure that you're building the right thing? So
Yes.
that then leads me into what you're doing now. So talk to the audience a little bit about think big leaders. Like, what are you doing in the generative AI space? What are you doing when it comes to using tools like Chat GPT and Midjourney for innovation?
Yes. So when, roundabout when ChatGPT came out, I did AI before with customers on all kinds of constellations and context. But, obviously when ChatGPT came out, I was very curious about it. And I love to try things myself. And then I was mostly curious about, all this 25 years of innovation experience. Can I have it as my innovation co-pilot or assistant, right? So I played around and then I discovered that it actually worked, at least with some of the methodology. So I tried to make it as if these are the persons that I'm teaching the innovation methodologies, same as I would be facilitating, innovation processes in organizations. But then it would help me scale and challenge me as well. And then I created some courses online to help people to share what I've learned, right? So that was the first course of how to use ChatGPT as your innovation co-pilot or your product innovation co-pilot, and I kind of taught ChatGPT all kinds of innovation methodologies that I use, including working backwards, but also other things such as Scamper for ideation, and creative advertising and trees for technology solutions. And I figured it came out pretty good. And then later, I was curious about Midjourney. I wanted to learn Midjourney. And again, I decided the best way to learn it is to try to build a course around it. And I selected a topic. That specific use case was around how can I do storytelling with Midjourney, and actually combined ChatGPT to help me think about the story, write that story, kind of think about the characters, maybe write even some of the prompts for Midjourney, and then Midjourney to create those images that take people through those stories, and then those could be stories for training, marketing, product the design, and visioning and things like that. So that was kind of my way into the deeper into the generative AI tools. And now with Think Big Leaders, what I'm doing is I'm helping customers think about that journey themselves. So what it starts by where are they now, right? Which level of maturity, what kind of industry, what are their desired outcomes that they want to achieve? Is it like internal productivity? Is it building generative AI into their products? Or is it maybe thinking about disruption of their market? And then depending on what kind of help they need, I can either start with the leadership, just help them envision a strategy, build a playbook, on how to address it. Obviously, also thinking about all the responsible AI aspects and security and safety elements. Or in some cases, I would also even almost have hands-on and build things for them with no-code tools, or maybe build content for their sales teams to use, go to market. And in one case, I also even served as kind of an internal product manager for one internal efficiency booster that we built for their sales process. So I kind of guided they had their own IT development team, so I kind of led that team as a product leader. So that's kind of depending on really, again, starting with what the customer needs, I kind of adjust my level of help and try to guide them through it. The other thing that I'm doing is I'm trying to scale this, because this you can only do like one-on-one with customers, and it's very service oriented and also costly for customers, right, to pay for my fee. So I'm trying to create products that can scale myself. And in that respect, I'm creating mostly courses like the ones that I mentioned, but even more. I've also cloned myself, both my voice and my video. So now to produce this kind of content is much faster for me. And I can maybe 4 times faster than I used to, because I don't need to set up like here. I don't need to set up a camera. I don't need to edit if I do any mistakes. I basically write the scripts. Again, I'm having ChatGPT already knows me, and I put my previous scripts there. So it helps me kind of think about the next scripts. And then I put that in 11 Labs. I clone my voice. I put it in HeyGen when I want to have a video. And depending on the content, I may record the screen, but that's kind of the easier part.
How do I know I'm not talking to your digital twin right now? I know it's hard to tell. I even saw something.
Somebody said that I don't know, if you tell me to do something like put my finger on my nose and shake my other hand or something. So
yeah, no, or maybe I ask you to look at 5 pictures and figure out which one of them has a bus in it. Which, I mean, so like CAPTCHA's cool. Like, don't get me wrong, but I always wonder, like, where does it consider the bus ending and where does it starting? Are the tires part of the bus? I mean, I've had it say that that's not part of the bus, but it's like, I don't know. I mean, I think it does.
Oh, yeah. And sometimes I'm so good, firstly, because they include these kind of weird pictures which you're not sure, and then I get anxiety. Well,
Yeah.
what if I get it wrong? Will I be tagged as a robot forever?
I mean, speaking of digital twins, one of the interesting things that I've been reading about this week was an idea that Zoom had. It was that there was some controversy that they had earlier this year about some of their changes in their licensing. People had to agree that any video, any audio, any transcripts could potentially be used to train some of their own internal models. And what they're possibly using that for is being able to create digital twins of users. So there could be a future not too distant from where we're at, where when someone books a meeting, the 2 participants that show up are the virtual twins of the people that were invited to the meeting, and then they can adjudicate and then come to some sort of resolution with whatever they wanted to meet on. Like, that's a little nuts.
That's a bit weird as well. I mean, I've been thinking about this, and what if everybody who shows up, if it's like in a multiple participant meeting, is that the avatar? I'm not sure how that would work, but probably it will happen sooner or later. We'll see what comes out of it.
Yeah, prior to this, really the only thing that I had ever heard about people using this for would be if you want to get a reservation at a restaurant and they don't have Open Table, they don't have any of these other services where you can do it digitally. Perhaps what people would be able to do is have a Google Assistant call the restaurant, talk with the person that was actually like booking the reservations, so that they themselves don't have to talk to another human being. But what happens when the recipient of the call at the restaurant is in fact another Google Assistant? Like, they're just going to be communicating with each other.
Yeah, so, and you saw some of these demo, by the way, that people have this on YouTube, or I think even OpenAI showed this in their latest demo, having 2 assistants talking to each other and kind of inventing new stuff or coming to different conclusions. Well, remains to be seen. Where is the human in the loop, and how can we be part of that conversation?
Mm-hmm. And I think, just kind of from a programming standpoint, when I think of what this is becoming, it does kind of remind me of the transition that we made away from uh, assembly up to higher order languages. Like humans
Yeah,
didn't have to
abstraction.
know about moving data from one register to another. Although, I'm sure if I really thought about it hard enough, I could probably like remember when I learned about that in university. But
Yeah,
I see this and kind of how you were describing it too. It's a co-pilot. It's really
yeah,
effective to supplement, to be able to augment, but in no way replace. You still have a
yeah.
human driver, and this is simply just it's another tool in our tool belt. I mean, is that what you're seeing in a lot of your conversations?
I mostly agree that currently this is the case. And to your point, I have in September I have a keynote where I titled it about the abstraction of programming, right? And the title is "Get Ready, English is your new programming language," and this is for developers, right? So I definitely see that happening, and it will probably happen more and more, especially with Microsoft saying this is the age of co-pilots and so on. I think there is potential to go beyond that. Or to put it differently, that is just maybe one step. There is potential for disruption, for like full automation of certain things, rearrangement of value chains, not just, by the way, with generative AI, with AI in general, right? The wider capabilities of AI. I think nobody can really say the bigger impact. It might remain on the assistant level, kind of humans plus. Uh, it might go beyond that. But and there are some kind of the one side there's the techno optimist, on the other side there's kind of the catastrophist talking about getting taken over by AI and things like that. I would say I'm somewhere in the middle, maybe leaning towards the optimists.
Mhm. That's a good place to be. So I'm curious, just kind of to close it out, anything additional that we should have been talking about generative AI that I haven't covered, or maybe even what I have in my notes too is your 30-30 challenge. I'm curious,
Yeah.
give the audience a
So
little bit about that.
yeah, so maybe just before that, one thing that I'd like to highlight is, when I came to the Nordics 3.5 years ago, I didn't know that much about sustainability. It wasn't kind of something that I learned about or did a lot around with. But here in the Nordics, it's a very big thing, and happily so. And one of the things that I'm involved in is a course around sustainability-driven innovation, and I deliver the AI and digitalization module. And for me, it's another use case. I always try to connect AI to use cases, right? So I mentioned product innovation, I mentioned storytelling. Now this is sustainability, how to drive innovation in sustainability. And it's very interesting to see how can you leverage that. Of course, there are kind of minus-sided or negative-sided to AI, and that's impact on in the environment that people have been talking about. But I try to kind of show how can you accelerate scale innovation around sustainability in that specific course. And the other thing that 30 times 30, so maybe as kind of maybe came through from my previous answers, I'm trying to share my experiences with others. I'm trying to maybe lower the fear factor by educating people or by showing them what is possible, and encourage them to start their own journeys. So one of the things that I did on LinkedIn, I said, I'm going to spend the next 30 days building 30 applications on no code or low code generative AI tools. And I invite you to challenge me with whatever you want me to build, right? And there were different requests that came in. One was, can you do a hotel branding tool for us? And kind of I did it, and it sometimes even took me like 20 minutes, not 30. It actually took me more time to put the LinkedIn post than to build the applications. So I did like a voice of the customer application. I did obviously like an Amazon working backwards PRFAQ, draft generator, and I did all sorts of education assistant, many use cases. And again, coming back to my general approach is find the use cases, show what the value is there, and then think how can you go beyond the prototype to scale. So often when I come to customers, I kind of try to figure out what is their problem or what is their space, and I try to show them what is possible with a prototype. But that was kind of a way to kind of share it with a wider audience, and it was fun.
So, Amir, we've covered a lot of ground. We've talked about a lot of things, had a lot of laughs, shed a lot of tears. Where can people go to find out more about you, more about your work, more about your company? I'm assuming LinkedIn is probably going to be in some of those answers.
Yeah. So first of all, LinkedIn, and so reach out to me, Amir Elion, on LinkedIn. I try to make my LinkedIn connections meaningful. So if you do reach out to me, expect me to message you and ask you, what are your interests? What do you do? What can I learn from you? And how can I help you with? Or what can I help you with? And then the other is just thinkbigleaders.com. There's a blog there. If I find the time, I kind of post every now and again. You can see what I do there as well. So yeah, either LinkedIn or thinkbigleaders.com.
Awesome. Well, it's always been a blast. And ladies and gentlemen, we'll catch you in the future.